Hey everyone, got week 2, day 2 here that we're going over. Tried to kind of write it out a little bit better on today's outline so that you guys can see exactly what you need to know about. So today's reading is going to be quite a bit less. It's only, it looks like 11 pages, and it's got some images and charts and stuff on them, so it's really not 11 full pages or any by any means. But the idea for today is to understand crosswinds and gusts, what they have, how they affect landing, takeoff, what dispatchers are concerned with regarding those, and just to kind of let you guys know with crosswinds. Every aircraft type has a certain amount of a crosswind limitation, and you'll learn more about exactly what that is with the CRJ 700 later on. We'll go over that, but so we'll look more at that later. However, just kind of know what a crosswind is, and I mean basically it's any wind that does not align with the runway that you're landing or taking off from. So when a plane's in the air, the wind blowing against the plane obviously is going to make it angle, to one direction or the other. And I put a video on there that is a really, really good demonstration of what crosswind does, especially to landing. That's definitely going to be more of the issue with crosswinds. I think the video is like 9 minutes long. You don't have to watch all 9 minutes, but you'll get a very good idea very quickly of crosswind problems. These are things that often make airplanes have to go around and not land, and then they end up having to power back up and climb back out and then circle back around and try again. And you'll see that in the video as well. So just kind of understand what crosswinds do to airplanes when they're trying to land and take off. It does talk about gusts in there. Gusts is just the as everybody kind of knows and everybody sees, just in normal daily life, when the wind is blowing, sometimes you get a sudden gust of wind that's stronger than what the normal just steady wind is. So when we're looking at wind reports and things like that in METARs and pilot reports and things, you'll see the wind, and you'll see that it sometimes is reported with a gust in there. So just the only thing you really need to know specifically about that is just that when we are looking at the wind, you'll have your wind report as you've already seen. Let's say it says the wind is 180 at 15, and that would be written 180 and then 015. I'm sorry, actually it would just be 18015 KT on the end. But sometimes you'll see it written as 18015, and then you'll see a G in there, and then it'll be like a G and then 30. And what that would mean is the wind is 180 at 15 knots, gusting to 30 knots. So that's really all you need to understand about that. Is just that when you see the G and then the numbers after the G is just what the peak gust wind has been within that METAR time frame. So just take that into consideration and know that that's what it is, and that's really the extent of what you need to know about gusts until we talk about them later on. Then you're going to read into the restrictions to surface visibility. Now on each one of these here, you need to understand all of these different restrictions that cause visibility restrictions: mist, haze, smoke, precipitation, blowing snow, dust storms, sandstorms, also known as haboobs, volcanic ash, low ceilings, and mountain obscuration in the part of the low ceilings. So you'll just need to be able to take each one of those things and be able to write a sentence or two about what those things are specifically. So you'll want to know about each one of them. You'll want to know what the characteristics of them are, what causes them, and like I said, be able to just, write to the right of these, just to quickly be able to write, a sentence or two about each one of these things so that you can look back on it and study back on it later on. And then contaminated runways. This is something that right now, the only thing that I really want you to understand about that is that obviously when you have weather and ice and snow and precipitation, that causes runways to have ice and snow on them and water on them, standing water, slush, wet snow, dry snow, ice, all sorts of different types of contamination that you can have on a runway. Airport authorities like to plow the runways, and a lot of times they can't necessarily get rid of all of the contamination on runways, but with regards to aircraft performance, if you have a contaminated runway, your performance is going to be degraded both for takeoff and landing. So what I want you to understand as of right now, as far as contaminated runways go, is just what is considered a contaminant, first of all, and then how much of the runway needs to be covered in that specific contaminant in order to say that the runway has contamination on it. So the percentage, when a runway has 25% or more coverage of whether that be snow, ice, water, or anything else that's considered a contaminant, it has to be 25% or more in order for the runway as a whole to be considered contaminated. If it's less than 25%, then the runway is still just considered dry. So in this, I just want you to understand the difference between a dry runway and a wet runway, and then a contaminated runway with ice, snow, or any other things that it's going to list in the reading. So you don't have to memorize every little thing, but just know what is the definition of a contaminated runway, what's the definition of a dry runway, and what are the different contaminants that can be on a runway. As far as aircraft performance and things like that goes, later on we'll learn about that. We'll learn about which one of these contaminants is worse, and we'll get all into that kind of stuff when we start calculating performance and things like that. But as of right now, just want you to understand what contamination means and what percentage we need to consider a runway contaminated, and then just the different types of contaminants. Like I said, the reading is really short today. There's also these videos in here. Let me see if I can scroll down here. Okay, so I've got the examples of the crosswind landings. Pretty fun video to watch. It's like 9 minutes long. I've got a video clip of Delta 1086, which was a couple of years ago, LaGuardia. It was an icy runway incident where the aircraft slid off the runway. Anyway, that's only like 3 or 4 minutes long, but just watch that and kind of just to apply that with the contaminated runway stuff. And then the last 2 videos are about low visibility landings, and you'll kind of see what pilots have to go through as they are landing an aircraft. That very last clip there is a video that I took a few months back when I was doing my annual jump seating. Anyway, I got to see a really low visibility approach all the way down to 1200 RVR, which is the lowest that SkyWest can land in. And we'll learn about the category 1s and 2s and things like that later on in RVR and things like that as well. So don't have to worry too much about what all that means. But other than just watch the video and just kind of notice that pilots train to be able to land in very, very low visibility conditions, and they're capable of going all the way down to where you literally don't see the runway until you're almost on the runway. So yeah, other than that, just want you to understand the different types of low visibility, what causes it. Like I said, be able to write a little blurb about each one of those low visibility conditions up there, and then understand the contamination and understand crosswinds and gusts and basically what they are. And yeah, it should be, you know, a little bit of a probably easier day than what you've seen recently. But other than that, that's kind of what you need to know for today's stuff. If anybody has any questions, as always, let me know. Text me, email me, whatever you need. And yeah, tomorrow 9 a.m. Hope to see everyone there in class, and we'll continue going over all this fun weather stuff. So anyway, enjoy this, and like I said, if anybody has any questions, let me know. Other than that, everyone have a good day.